Hi, I'm Emily Beach, and in this video I'm going to show you how to do the reduction block printing technique with linoleum block carving. The first thing I'm going to do is sketch out some botanical print ideas, and the design for your botanical print could be a plant in nature, it could be a flower, it could be a potted plant, and you're going to color your design using the 4 color choices. So for this project, white, yellow, red, and green are the 4 color choices, but depending on your printing ink, you could change that up. And then you're going to fill the 4x6 area and fully color it. So I have an example here that is completed that uses the yellow, red, green, and white. There are no black outlines. If you wanted to add black as a 5th color, you could certainly do that. Or if you wanted to trade out the green with black, you could also do that. And so this is fully colored. This is a sample of what it would potentially look like when it's completed. I have another one here that's more of an abstract floral kind of design, and here's another using those 4 colors. So just be creative and think about using the space. And so for my sample, I'm going to be showing you how to create this print. I'm going to cut my drawing out. Then I'm going to flip my drawing over, so this is the back side of it, and I'm going to be coloring the back with pencil. And if you had transfer paper or graphite paper, you could use that instead for the transfer, but just going to show you how to do this by coloring with pencil. You want to make sure that you're pressing nice and hard and that you are fully coloring on the back of the design. If you used colored pencils or crayons to color in your design, you might not be able to see it from the back side. You just want to make sure that you are fully coloring the back of that page with your pencil. You might also want to go in more than one direction. It's probably better that you've colored too much with the pencil than too little, because you're going to be relying on this pencil to transfer the image. After you've colored the back with pencil, you're then going to put your drawing on top of your linoleum block. This is also a 4x6, so they match in size. You're going to match up the drawing with the smooth side of the linoleum, not the fabric side, and just tape it a little bit at the top. Now I'm going to trace around all the areas that are white. You can see where the pattern has been transferred, and if you want, you can go over it with a pencil, again, just to make the areas a little bit darker so that you can see them better when you go to carve, but that is not necessary if you can clearly see the areas where you need to carve out. Now, as I start the carving process, I'm going to take my bench hook and hook it on the end of my tabletop. And that is going to allow me to push on my linoleum block without holding my hand in this direction, because if you're cutting away from yourself, but you're also holding, you could easily gouge your hands. And so this is a really good and safe way to hold your block in place and keep it from sliding while you're carving it. So these are my printing gouges, and I just wanted to show you that the blades come in various sizes. There's really wide ones for carving out large areas. There's very fine ones for detail and outlining, and then there's medium. And so looking at mine, I'm not carving out a large portion of the background, and these pieces are not really small, but they're kind of small. So I'm going to be using a number 2 blade in my gouge. These handles are made so that you can change out the blades to different sizes if you need to. And what I'm going to be doing is holding my linoleum block from behind, and I'm going to be pressing and carving away from myself. Really important because these gouges are very sharp. I will also be turning my block as I'm cutting so that I'm cutting the least amount of distance. So you want to make sure that you're carving nice and deep. And you are pushing these like a shovel. So let me zoom in a little bit for you. Sometimes if you rock the blade a little bit, you can get a little bit more control. Now I've inked my block with my first color, and I'm going to do yellow as the first color. When you're doing reduction printing, you always want to start with the lightest colors and work towards the darkest colors. I'm just going to use this printing press to print it. If you would like to watch my video on block printing methods, I've got another video that shows you a couple different options for printing. Okay, this looks pretty good. I'm going to do 4 more prints. I'm just going to analyze some of my prints. This is a pretty good print. This one had a small white spot from just some debris on the plate. Another good print. This one also has a little white spot from debris on the plate. Another thing that I did was I didn't ink the block a second time, just so you can see how that yellow color starts to get a little splotchy if it's not re-inked, and then this one even more so. So these prints with not enough ink just need to be tossed out. You could also end up with this type of situation if you're not using a press and you're using a Baron, but you're not pressing hard enough, or you're waiting too much time and the ink starts to dry a little bit before you apply the pressure. So again, my suggestion is that you probably want to have 4 to 6 good prints. And the next thing that I'm going to do is I've washed and dried my linoleum block, and I'm going to put my drawing back on top of the linoleum block. And the next thing I'm going to do is trace around all the areas that are yellow, because that's the next part that's going to get carved out. Now that I've carved out everything that is yellow on my linoleum block, I'm now going to print red, and I'm going to print that over the yellow prints that have dried on the paper. And the last step will be to put my drawing back on my linoleum block again, trace around the areas that are red, and to carve out all the red areas.